Bits and Pieces, in Dinarland Tuesday. Afternoon, May 27, 2025. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. KTFA. Claire. The dollar exchange rate in Iraq fell to its lowest level in months. May 26, 2025. The exchange rate of the US dollar against the Iraqi dinar witnessed a significant decline. On Monday afternoon in the markets of Baghdad, as well as in Erbil in the Kurdistan region, coinciding with the closing of the stock exchange. The dollar exchange rate declined with the closing of the Al-Kifa and Al-Harithia stock exchanges, with the exchange rate recording 140,700 dinars for every $100. The exchange rate this morning was recorded at 141,350 dinars per $100. Regarding the buying and selling prices at exchange offices in Baghdad's local markets, the selling price reached 139,750 dinars per $100, while the buying price reached 141,750 dinars per $100. In Erbil, the dollar registered a similar decline, with the selling price reaching 140,650 dinars per $100 and the buying price reaching 140,450 dinars per $100. Claire. $90 billion in the shadows. Iraq searches for a map of its forgotten treasure. May 27, 2025. From Mogadishu to Madrid, from tea plantations in Vietnam to Mediterranean palaces in Cannes, France. The specter of lost Iraqi property, estimated to be worth at least $90 billion, lingers. But this wealth, once a tool of influence and investment, is now a forgotten treasure tucked away in unarchived files, undocumented contracts, and unnamed properties. In a rare moment of astonishment and diplomacy, Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed surprised the Arab League summit hosted by Baghdad in May 2025 when he revealed that a major Iraqi oil refinery still exists on the outskirts of the capital, Mogadishu. The refinery, established in 1978 as part of an official agreement between the Iraqi and Somali governments, had disappeared from official Iraqi memory since the fall of Saddam Hussein's regime. But this incident was only the tip of the iceberg of a broader, more complex issue. The issue of Iraqi assets scattered around the world, lost to the state over 2 decades in silence that paralleled their economic importance. More than 50 origins on 3 continents. Information obtained by Shafaq news agency from senior diplomatic sources indicates that Iraq has at least 50 real estate and investment projects spread across Europe, Asia, and Africa, including luxurious palaces, farms, banks, commercial offices, and strategic factories. In Europe alone, Baghdad owns real estate assets in Spain, France, the UK, and Italy, some of which are located in luxury locations such as Cannes. In Asia, assets include tea, rice, rubber, and tobacco plantations in Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam. In Africa, assets in Somalia, Nigeria, and Mozambique include tourist islands and agricultural factories. These assets were part of Iraq's expansionist economic policy during the 1970s and 1980s, when it used oil revenues to purchase strategic assets around the world to bolster its economic and diplomatic standing. However, after the fall of the regime in 2003, this issue entered a cycle of neglect and loss. The Parliamentary Integrity Committee revealed to Shafaq News that essential ownership documents had been stolen or destroyed, and that some properties had been transferred to the names of individuals or fictitious companies affiliated with the former regime or networks linked to it, while others remained without any significant follow-up. Mozambique incident. The state clashes with weapons. In 2012, the Iraqi Ministry of Foreign Affairs sent a delegation to Mozambique to inspect a state-owned asset there, believed to be a palace on a tourist island once owned by Iraq. However, the trip was never completed. According to a diplomatic source who spoke to Shafaq news agency, the delegation members received direct threats from an armed group controlling the site, forcing them to immediately withdraw from the country. This was one of the first serious attempts to recover Iraqi property abroad, but it ended in failure, leaving the property under the control of parties that do not recognize Baghdad's ownership. Mogadishu Refinery, a moment of awakening. But the surprise announcement of the Mogadishu refinery has reshuffled the cards. According to what the Somali presidency conveyed to Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, the refinery is still standing and only requires technical rehabilitation to return it to operation, at a time when Somalia is beginning to discover offshore oil reserves. Baghdad's shock at this revelation prompted the government to form specialized legal and technical committees to pursue this forgotten issue, not only in Somalia but in all countries that may contain lost property. The Ministries of Oil, Foreign Affairs, and Justice were tasked with coordinating efforts, including re-registering properties, settling their tax status, and verifying the validity of remaining documents. International law experts surveyed by Shafaq news agency suggested resorting to the International Court of Justice or concluding bilateral agreements with the concerned countries to establish Iraq's legal rights to these properties. They also stressed the need to pursue individuals and entities proven to be involved in the transfer or concealment of such assets, whether inside or outside Iraq, by issuing international arrest warrants and working with Interpol if sufficient evidence is available. In a country facing mounting economic challenges and declining foreign exchange resources, many experts consider this a major financial opportunity that has been neglected for years. Initial estimates place the value of these assets at between $80 and $90 billion. Economists believe that recovering even a small portion of them, or investing them properly, could generate sustainable revenues for a country whose budget relies almost exclusively on crude oil exports. However, despite recent positive indicators, challenges remain. According to legal experts, some assets may be subject to statutes of limitations in host countries or have been subject to legal actions that have legalized ownership by third parties after Iraq's absence from the scene for 2 decades. In addition, there is a fear that internal political interference could hinder recovery efforts, especially if current properties are tied to powerful interests or are linked to old contracts that are difficult to cancel without engaging in complex legal disputes. MNT GOAT, remember for your thought process that a rise in the rate of the dinar is less dinars to the US dollar, not more. I know it is backwards to what some believe, as we call a rise usually means more, not less. So, actually it is a downward trend in the number of dinars to make up $1. This strengthens the dinar. So, if the official rate is 1320, we want the dollars in the parallel market to reflect the same or less rate of 1320. Frank 26 article quote. Exchange shops in the local market in Baghdad to record to 139,750 dinars for $100. Oh my goodness, what was it before? 114,750. Do you understand the seriousness of what's going on with this monetary reform? This stuff is off the hook. You know how close we are to getting to 1-to-1? 800% surge in gold deliveries confirms elites are prepping for reset. Taylor Kenny, May 27, 2025. Gold delivery demand is shattering records. This isn't speculation, it's preparation. In this episode, Taylor breaks down who's buying, why it matters, and how to protect your wealth before the next reset. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: dinarrecaps.com.